Hi everybody, welcome to Cozy Witchcrafter. If I look the same as I did in my first video, it's because this was filmed right seconds after my last video. But while I've got the time and the ability and I just want to, talk about some crochet and I've got the gumption, I'm gonna power through the rest of these books with you guys. And I hope to do more of these in the future because I really enjoy collecting old craft books, especially old crochet books. I do have some old embroidery and cross-stitch books that I didn't buy, but I got from my great aunt. I never met her, but my gran had them, and so therefore they became mine at some point. So I do have those, and those are kind of fun too because they're from the 50s. So if you guys are interested in that, I can definitely pull those out and we can do those as well. That hair just... the hairspray is literally permeating off the cover. And that's what I was saying with the last video. This was the one that I was going to do last, so I'm going to do it first this video because it is of the time. This was definitely from the 90s. And this one, part of the reason I love old books, and I'm sure there are some of you that feel the same way, I love getting things. It's part of the reason why if I don't make it, I try to get it secondhand. I like to thrift and antique and things before I go and buy new because I love the fact of an item having a life before I acquired it. Especially if there's like a remnants of the previous owner. This one, it has a note and it says to Judy Long. Yeah, to Judy Long from Pen Pal Valerie Mattel, Burlington, Vermont, October 2001. I just love stuff like that. So I hope, Judy, wherever you are, I hope you enjoyed this book. I hope you got some use out of it. I hope you and your pen pal were pen pals for a very long time. And wherever you are now, I hope you both are doing well. This one isn't the Better Homes and Gardens like the last one, but it's kind of got that same feel to it. Sharing the art and soul of crochet. I wonder if this one's still in publication. I don't know. It doesn't have any kind of like, I mean, I would assume maybe it is, but that was actually bookmarking that bag. And the reason I think it's that is because the shawl doesn't have the pattern on it, so I'm assuming this was what was bookmarked, unless it was randomly thrown in there. But Judy must have been a very diligent and very dedicated crocheter, considering she got a book from a pen pal. She obviously at some point bought a crochet magazine. That's just me being a detective. Hairpin lace. That's a hairpin lace doily. I haven't ever done hairpin lace. That fillet doily is gorgeous. It's called Briar Roses, and the sampler is really pretty too. And as you can tell with like working with fillet crochet, it's using really small steel hooks and small cotton thread, crochet thread. So that is an example of, and this is actually a little bit thicker. There are still different thicknesses of crochet thread, and believe it or not, it gets smaller than this. It gets even smaller than this. This is I wish I had the label still. I'll put the information down here. I know it's the Lydia's cotton. I think it's a 20, I think, but I love that color. It's a choker out of that with this really pretty heart pendant. The ear of corn pot. How freaking cute is that? I'm really tempted to make that. It's just so stinking cute. And then you've got the Granny's Bloomers pot holder. I love kitschy stuff, and that just is right up my alley. A mesh shopping bag, which you can actually make that with plarn, is what they call it. It's plastic yarn. Basically, you take shopping bags and you make yarn out of it. It's really easy, and you roll it into a yarn ball and then crochet and make a mesh bag like that. And that's something we can definitely do on this channel too. But seashell mat, I love seashells. And I like that this one, it kind of goes into different articles. Like there's some writings at the end, but it talks about just some brief stuff about crochet hooks. Like for instance, in the thing about crochet history. Looking back into crochet history, I can't fail but to be amazed that these crocheters could turn out such lovely pieces of needlework with the crude tools with which they had to work. I have, for instance, a wooden hook fashioned out of a chair leg by a gentleman in Texas for his wife. In Ireland, exquisite Irish crochet laces were worked with the hooks made of stiff wire inserted into a piece of wood or cork. The end of the wire was filed down and a hook turned at the end. It's just so cool. Like I love history, and I love learning about the origins of things. And I also, when I'm interested in something, especially I just call it hyperfixation. I mean, I do have ADHD, but I love learning everything I can about something I'm interested in. It's just something I love to learn about those things. And obviously you do too, to an extent. If you're clicking on this video, if you're watching me ramble, hopefully that means that you like this stuff too. And it has edging, so pretty. And then it's got this fun thing. And she did it all herself, and this came from the Modern Priscilla, June 1923. Doesn't your heart just naturally warm to a sweet little girl of 11 whose skill with the needle and the crochet hooks makes a lovely display possible? Miss La Pearl Weeder, that's the young lady's name, lives in Thistle, Utah. I have before me, as I write, a letter from one who is evidently proud of her either as a relative or merely as a fellow citizen. When little Miss Weeder was 8 years old, so this letter says, she could copy anything presented to her either from a work itself or from a paper pattern. I can't even do that. Today at 11, the old ladies of her acquaintance, as well as the young ones, turn to her for help when their crochet goes wrong. This smiling little lady has taken 11 prizes at state fairs, first prizes, and 8 special first prizes, our correspondent tells us. Not every little girl has the natural aptitude for needlework that you see evidenced here. But even so, needle skill and the love of the work can be cultivated, and better so in early years. The thing that most impresses us was not the remarkable display worthy of admiration, though it is, but the fact that all through her lifetime this little girl will reap the reward of early acquired housewifely skill. I have some thoughts on that. A source of pleasure and profit to herself and others. Is your little girl being taught to love needlework? So talented, praised at how, doing things that I've been crocheting since I was 15, so 15 years now. And I can't even, I can do things from paper patterns. I can make shapes pretty easily out, like free-handed, and figure it out. But as far as copying something from seeing a finished thing, no. And all that to say, it's just gonna make her a better wife. It just makes me feel yucky. But that was 1923, and we're in 2023, so it was 100 years ago. things have gotten a little better, depending on who you ask. But anyway, I digress. See, now this is a hairpin lace I would want to try. Something on a kerchief, something like that, because you could, I think it'd be really cool to do it and do it in a way that would incorporate colors to almost make it look like a peacock feather. Just an idea. Lamb. Humpty Dumpty. My son would like that. He loves Humpty Dumpty. I may actually make that for him. And I love the colors of this, but it's a glove purse. Literally like a little coin purse that you would affix to a chain, and you would either put it on your waistcoat or wear it or put it along your belt, and it would hold money for milk money, basically. I see it now and I'm thinking, ooh, that would make a really cute Aldi coin bag. Cupid doll hairpin holder. That's pretty wild, but I love it because I love Cupid dolls. This beret. Next thing is this wishbone thimble holder. And it's exactly what you think about with the wishbone. It calls for 3-inch long, 2.5-inch wide turkey wishbone for a large thimble holder. 2.5-inch long by 1 3/4-inch wide chicken wishbone for a small thimble holder. It's definitely a way to be resourceful. This one's really cool because it has picture step-by-step guides on basically, if you're new to crochet, let's show you how to crochet, but then also let's present you with some of the most difficult, involved crochet projects that you will ever think of. Have fun! I don't get that. This one's super fun. It's the Great Crochet Bazaar book. American School of Needlework. Excellence in Instruction. This, I'd say 70s. Oh, 1982. So yeah, it does the whole rundown of abbreviations, symbols, gauge, how to make a pom-pom, and how tips on how to use a steel crochet hook. There's this terrifying clown bottle holder. All toys are cute, but the black and white picture makes them look terrifying. The slippers. I really want to crochet some slippers. I do like it's a hexagon boot, so it's literally hexagon granny squares. We can totally do that. That's actually not that hard of a beginner project. So let me know. One of the best things to learn how to do, like if I was asked what would be the best thing for a new crocheter to make, I'd say granny squares, because from there, not only do you learn how to, you kind of learn how to work in a round, but then you also learn how to work by rows, but then you can turn that into so many different things. And then you can also turn that into a hexagon. You can turn it into different shapes. So I definitely recommend granny squares. This is a really cool spaceship blanket, and they actually on the back have it in color, and it has the diagram on how to make that. Granny square vest. Those are coming back in the style. Granny square cardigans, granny square vest. Again, it's one of the easiest things that you can make when it comes to crochet. And it is a great way to learn almost all of your basics in one project. Granny square collar. This shawl, it's a spiderweb lace shawl. It's one that I do want to make. So here's some color pictures of some of the patterns that are there. That's a pajama bag for your kids, and you can like put your pajamas, if you're staying over at a friend's house, you can pack their pajamas in their little change of clothes and stuff, and it actually goes in the mouth of the elephant. That one's super cute. And like cats. That's the terrifying bottle holder. It looks wrong. It's nothing good would come out of that cursed thing. That is absolutely gorgeous. Great idea for Pride. The wedding of the cats. I just love it. Another thing that's absolutely terrifying. I probably wouldn't make it that big. Oof. And then it has little, just for fun. So, bookmark with granny squares, hat and mittens lapel pin. That's cute. A turtle pin cushion. It's a bazaar because it's a collection, but it's also bizarre, which love it. Golden Hands Crochet. I want to get more Golden Hands books. She no longer goes by Fancy Dinosaur Tea Party. She actually goes by a different channel name, and I'll link that down below too, even though her channel has gotten massive and she deserves every bit of it. But she also collects Golden Hands books, and I was excited to get my hands on one. Have a knitting, embroidery, complete book of dressmaking, complete book of embroidery, and complete book of knitting and crochet. And I definitely want the complete book of the knitting and crochet. So in 1973, which is, yeah, that sounds about right. Of course, it starts with the baby stuff, like how stinking cute. I kind of want to make the robe for my son. A little, so adorable. The little poncho. I kind of want to make a poncho for my son too. I don't think he'd like the fringy bits, but, and it shows all the color photos first, and then it goes into the pattern, so I'll just kind of glaze over the color photos so you can actually see what these things look like. Some of the wonderful, wonderful things in this book that I want to make and will make one day. Look at how pretty she is though too, like, but that shawl is gorgeous. But I want to make this so bad. It's a whole suit. All of that is crochet, and the whole pattern is in here, and I am going to make that. I'm not going to make it that color, but I'm going to make that. That shawl is really pretty, and that picture's really pretty. And then it's got, you know, dude patterns. And then it goes from having the color pages, to having the black and white with the patterns. And then it goes into home designs for your home. I love that. I love that. I would make both of them. All those pretty things. Pot holders. Another really easy beginner project. And then there's the black and white photos with the patterns of, but the diagrams and everything, it's really in depth, which is good. The reason why these, especially if you're into anything vintage and you collect vintage books, you like vintage craft books, Golden Hands, they're a big deal because they're really good for instruction. This I actually made a note on, and it says that I noticed that it was a great beginner's guide in it and a lot of techniques for freeform crochet. And that's a new look of crochet using basic stitches to create modern designs by Elise and Mike Summer right off the bat. And the reason why this book stuck out to me, that jacket right there. And the cool thing, I mean, it gives you basic examples on how to make, I mean, just, it's a Baroque coat, and it does give the basic guidelines on how to make it, but it's very much, you know, do how you will with it. And it's got some great examples of literal structures that have been made from crochet. It also has nightmare fuel. If you do not like creepy dolls, if you do not like things that look like a creepy doll, if you don't like Uncanny Valley, if you don't, just, if you have any chance that this may freak you out, do not look. I will tell you when you can look, but this thing is absolutely terrifying. Like, why does it look like something off of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, especially the face? Like, it looks like Leatherface. This thing is absolutely horrific. I don't like it. I actually, like, when I even put on the thing nightmare fuel, and I put the thing over the face, and it still looks terrifying, but at least the face is covered. Okay, now you can look. If you closed your eyes, if you skipped ahead, you can look now. And for those of you who didn't and witnessed that, not fun. I don't recommend. But it gives you this, but the thing is, with it being a beginner's guide, it does give you a rundown of materials, what they look like, different materials that the tools are made out of, things that you can find, stuff like that. So I mean, it goes into how to size your hook. It goes into the different materials such as yarn, thread, all of that. It goes into stuffing. It tells you about blocking your work. It shows you how to, different ways you can hold a crochet hook. And the pencil way is the best way to, they say is the best way. I don't hold it pencil. I also crochet with my non-dominant hand, so that's probably why I don't, but it's just easier for me to crochet right-handed. I'm left-handed when it comes to a lot of things, but I have to crochet right-handed. It feels wrong crocheting with my left hand, and I don't know why. I'm assuming it's because of knitting, but I did crochet before I could knit, so I really don't know. But it shows you single crochet, making chains. It shows you, I mean, just it really, even though it's in black and white, it's very detailed. It's very informative. And it'll show you, like, for instance, you know, doing a swatch of single crochet. It shows something that you can do with single crochet. It's a little belt bag with a little belt. It shows you how to bead, how to incorporate beads into your crochet. And then it goes into really, like, out there stuff. Like, it goes into how to crochet when you have a frame that you're crocheting around, so you can make really cool stuff like that. It has some really inventive stuff that, even though, yes, this book came out in the 70s, you don't see this kind of stuff being done. And I think it's a shame, because it has its own beauty to it. I know a lot of it is because as crocheters, we like to be able to have patterns. We like to be able to share patterns. And a lot of times with freeform crochet, you can write it down, but it's hard to write down freeform crochet when you're literally crocheting as it's coming out of your head. I mean, it can be done, but you just kind of have to, it takes an extra step to go back and write down as you're doing things. I love that apron. I would almost make it, yeah, it's technically a pinafore, a tie-on pinafore. I was about to say, I'd make it more like a dirndl. So that way you could wear it as a dress. I'd probably actually make the back skirt part button up or something so it would close in the back, maybe. But I do, that's really, really cute. It has a whole chapter on crocheting in the round, but it shows, you know, things that you can do when you crochet in the rounds. It shows ribbon, it shows making a rug, hats, of course, berets, baskets, balaclavas, crocheting in the round over hard objects, so you can make like little decorative basket covers. I love this. They're just crocheted egg cups with crocheted eggs in them. They have no purpose except for to look decorative, and I absolutely love it. And I love that. I love how colorful it is. There's a color photo of the jacket, the Baroque jacket. Oh wait, this one's the forest landscape jacket. I think it has a color version of the Baroque one. That's a crocheted bird. That's meant to just be a decorative bird, and it's absolutely gorgeous. That collar, those colors, like, I love that color palette. That's a skirt someone did, all out of crochet. Even the patches are crocheted, which is crazy. Statues out of crochet. It's just got some really cool stuff in it, and it shows you kind of how to draft your shapes when you're wanting to do something that's free form and incorporate specific shapes in it. Like that's the basics of doing like a star, and then you're going to do a hexagon in the middle, and it shows you how to build those things out, and different basic shapes on making things curve and stuff like that. So it's a really good crash course when it comes to freeform crochet, and it's definitely something that I want to explore more, because I feel like I'm not an expert. I don't think I'll ever consider myself an expert regardless of how long I've crocheted. I always like to learn. I always like to learn things, and there's always things to learn. I definitely want to try freeform crochet. I kind of started one, and I'll show that really fast. This is only freeform in the way that what I'm using to make this, but I'm making a scrap basket out of scrap yarn, and right now this is what it looks like. Nothing too crazy. As I build up the sides, it'll stand. It's a little floppy still because I'm still there. And I'm gonna build it up. It'll have handles, and it'll just be a big scrap yarn. You can kind of see where the bottom ends and the sides are working up, and I just keep going, and I'm going 3 strands at a time. There's the strands I'm working with right now. And as a strand runs out, I take another scrap that I have and I just attach it, and I just keep going. Really fun way to use up yarn. I can show you guys how to do that. It's really straightforward. It's actually a good beginner project, but the only reason I don't advise it for beginners is because unless you're coming from knitting to crocheting, you're not going to just have scrap yarn, and the whole purpose of that is to use up scrap yarn so you're not throwing yarn away, because we don't want to waste things. So yeah, that basically sums up part 2 and all my rambling. And if you guys like what you're seeing, if you guys want to support the channel, if you guys want to be cozy witchcrafty with me, let's be cozy together and let's be crafty together. You can hit subscribe. It's free. I'd appreciate it. I love to have you here as part of my little fun, just eccentric experience of doing what I love and being able to share it with people who are interested in the same thing as me. And give it a like if you do. If you don't like it, it's okay. You can unlike it. You can dislike it. That's fine. I'm not going to be hurt. We all have our opinions. But if you made it this far, hopefully you do like it. And you can give me a comment down below if you have any suggestions, if you have any questions. Let me know. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye!